Hey everyone, welcome to Death by Podcast, episode 87. I'm your host Adam. That's your other host,
Kevin.
Today for the letter V, I had the letter V, and I've been wanting to watch Videodrome from 1983, James Woods' vehicle, if you will.
Yep.
So that's our main show, but we got a bunch of other stuff to get through. I had some What'd You Watches. Kevin, did you find any news, anything shaking in the world?
Yep. Something that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
The trailer dropped for Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. Which
Did you
comes
watch
out
it? I haven't watched it.
I watched about 5 seconds of it, and I was like, no more trailer, because I'm 100% in.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll watch the trailer.
I mean, I shouldn't even watch 5. I mean, they didn't give anything away in the 5 seconds. It just looked like, a small town, and I turned it off. I was like, I'm in. I don't, me and Eli Roth.
Yeah. Is it a serial killer thing?
I think so. At least that's what the poster looks like.
Awesome.
But I'm in. I'm seeing it opening day.
That's cool. Thanksgiving was, oh man, what was the movie that we just did where, Happy Birthday to Me. It was I thought that was around Thanksgiving for some reason. Anyway, that's cool. When is that coming out? Do you know?
November 17th.
It is for Thanksgiving this year.
Yep.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Man, is Toxic Avenger also coming out this year?
I think so. I don't know when, but I think
some
it is.
stuff.
I think it's coming out at Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Wow. Some holiday movies coming up.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else news wise?
Not much. They're going to they're going to bring Saw 1 and Saw 2 in for a double feature in theaters.
Okay. Like a re-release.
They're doing a Crow remake.
Remake?
They're remaking The Crow.
That's been on the table for a while. With a lot of different actors.
Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah. Okay. I heard that. Because it used to be Jason
I could
Momoa.
see that. Oh, that would be awful.
Really? I don't think. Well, yeah, Jason Momoa would be awful.
Yeah,
I don't think Skarsgård is good either, though.
I could see it.
Maybe. I don't know. Did you see the Crow movie? I think it was the third. And
I saw City of Angels.
City of Angels
I didn't
is
see
good.
the third one.
City of Angels is Vincent Perez. He was a good Crow. 3 was this dude. I cannot remember his name, but he's in like all the Resident Evil movies. Forget his name. And he was like a decent Crow. He had short hair, like really short hair.
The third one's, what's it called? Salvation, right?
Salvation, maybe. Yeah.
I think.
And then it was the fourth one that had Eddie Furlong, which blows my mind. Whoever decided that was a cool idea. Fat Eddie Furlong as the Crow. Are you kidding me? Like, anyway, the dude that played him in number 3 was halfway decent, but he kind of looks like Skarsgård a little bit similar.
Okay.
Because
they're all not really sequels, right? They're all just like, more people, the Crow thing's happening.
Yeah,
it's not,
exactly. It's an anthology series at best.
Yeah.
I just watched John Wick 4, and you've seen that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Skarsgård is the villain in that, and he's just kind of like he's a weenie villain. He's bigger than I thought he was in real life, but
I always like when he pops up. I really like him as an actor. Like when he was in Barbarian,
that was great.
Like, I think he plays a great regular guy.
Yeah.
And a great, like, I know he's doing a lot of horror, but I hope he does some regular stuff too.
I wonder what they're gonna do with The Crow. Is it just The Crow? They're just remaking it. It's just
they're saying it's a reboot, so that could mean I don't think they'll do like a sequel route. Like it'll just be The Crow.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of a horror news though. But that Pet Sematary Bloodlines, the prequel movie.
Okay.
It's rated R, and it's going to premiere on Paramount Plus on October 6th.
This year.
Yeah, this year.
Anybody interesting in there?
Yeah, here's the cast right here.
What you got?
Oh yeah, actually there is another little bit of news. Henry Thomas is in it.
Henry Thomas, nice. Is it it makes me wonder if it's a
it's not Flanagan.
Yeah, Flanagan.
No, it's directed by Lindsay Anderson Beer.
Okay.
David Duchovny's in it. Pam Grier is in it.
That's a good cast.
Yeah.
Duchovny and who was the other guy you just said that we were like, yeah,
Pam Grier and Henry Thomas.
Henry Thomas. Henry Thomas is awesome. That's cool. I'll watch that maybe.
And then the other thing was we got a poster and a release date, but I don't have the release date right here for Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix, which is Flanagan.
Oh, is it a series or a movie?
It's a miniseries. It's like all the other things. It's gonna be one season.
Interesting.
You know,
and it's based on Poe's thing.
I assume. I don't know. All the poster is just a creepy guy walking or a creepy lady walking or something.
Does it look like a period piece?
I can't really tell.
Interesting. Did you watch his I love Flanagan, but did you watch the last one, The Midnight Club?
No, I didn't watch Midnight Club.
Because The Midnight Club, did you say Netflix for this one too?
Yeah.
That's weird because Midnight Club was one season, ends with a massive cliffhanger.
They canceled it.
And they canceled it. So, but he's going to do another thing with Netflix. Like what? Say like, what? Like, why not finish your story? I don't know.
Yeah.
That it wasn't good though. I didn't like that. That's the only thing he's done that I didn't like.
He was doing something. He was planning this before Midnight Club came out, right? And Midnight Club was mostly producing too, right? Or was he?
No,
he full on him.
That was full on him.
I don't know.
It was just you could tell like he had more story to tell, and it's too bad that he can't. But it wasn't for me.
Okay.
I mean, his stuff is phenomenal though. Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass is one of the best things I've ever seen.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to rewatch that. I haven't watched that since it came out, but I'm going to rewatch that for Halloween.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Cool. I mean, I'll take Flanagan. It's awesome. I'll take more of that. What else? Is that news?
That's the news. Yeah.
All right. We got some Would You Watches. I know last week we said we were going to watch Dick Tracy, and I forgot to. Just flat out forgot. Kevin watched it. So we're going to do that on the next show. But we did watch some other stuff. Kevin, you said that you got one that I want to talk a little bit more about. So let me run through a couple of these really quick because they're kind of like bullshit. But I did a lot I was working a lot this week at my desk and I had a lot of stuff on in the background. And this has nothing to do with anything, but I've seen 10 Things I Hate About You 3 times this week. It's a good movie, man. It's a good movie. Heath Ledger, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I watched that for the first time during the pandemic and I really liked it, but for what it is, it's good. And then also
it's a Shakespeare adaptation.
Is it?
Yeah, it's an adaptation of Taming of the Shrew.
Is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, now it's really that much better. Heath Ledger did Shakespeare. I didn't know that. You mentioned, I think, last week that you had watched RoboCop 3.
Yeah.
Last night, while I was up late doing work, I watched 2 and 3.
Okay, there's a big change in tone.
Well, I watched. Let me be more specific. I watched the ending of 2 and all of 3.
Okay.
They were just on TV. I have Sling, so I was like, "What's on?" The ending of 2 is the one with Kane, right? Yeah. That's not like. I feel like if RoboCop 1, we've said before, it's a flawless movie. But if RoboCop 1 didn't exist and all we got was 2 and 3, I would probably concede that they were good movies, fun, entertaining. I wouldn't talk shit about them.
I mean, I grew up with RoboCop 3
right.
and I hadn't seen the first one. I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's not that, there's nothing wrong with this.
Like, sort of cheesy late 80s, early 90s. But I think that by that point they were 90s movies. But there's some good stuff with like the robot, RoboCop 2, the character. The thing I don't like
the character of RoboCop 2.
The character of RoboCop 2.
Yeah.
And the design of the robot and the what they do, the end is pretty good. The thing I don't like about that movie is the kid gangster.
See, I always kind of like that.
Distracts.
It felt like it made the movie stand out.
Really?
Yeah. And then they kill him at the end. Spoilers for RoboCop 2.
That's true. That's kind of
like it felt like it kind of made it feel more like a kid's movie, to be honest. But it was I don't know, the blue suit kind of annoys me.
It does. That, what is that called, that paint job where it's purple to blue? They do cars like that.
And they don't mention it, like, but they paint him like that, I think, because all those scenes take place during the day.
Yeah.
and like the way, like I don't know if they had reflected off the, I don't know why they shot it like that, but I don't like the blue. It's
And three is
distracting.
even like more gratuitous as far as the suit goes.
I
The
remember
color of
three
it.
being like pretty back to basics for the suit.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm confusing them, but I really like Mayor Goldie Wilson in the in number two. You know, he's always screaming Back to the
Yeah.
Future.
Yeah.
Um, and then I don't know. It's just there's a scene at the end when Kane is just like randomly shooting at the crowd and the police and all that stuff. There's a really cool something that like that movie was directed by Irvin Kershner, I believe, who
Yeah.
did
Second one
Empire
is.
Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And that makes you realize that how much input Lucas had on Empire, I think,
Hmm.
because about that's a great movie, and RoboCop 2 is not. Uh, but like there was some really awesome directing going on in that scene where I think the best acting is by people getting shot, and when they get shot, it's not just like brrr, boom or whatever. Like there's one chick, she's like a reporter, and she's wearing like these super 90s jeans, and when she gets shot, it's like she's clipped in the leg and she goes down, and it's like I was like, oh shit, did she just really get shot? Because the way she goes down is really believable. And then a
Hmm.
guy runs over to help her and he gets shot in the back, and he goes down very believably as well. It was really good choreography for the most
Hmm.
part. Um, just pay. I don't know. Next time you see that, check that out. But then
Yeah.
number three, man, like RoboCop 3 is just ridiculous,
Yeah. It's,
and
you know,
the ninjas especially. Although the creepy ninja when his face gets jacked and he's got that
I like the ninjas.
that
Like
was kind of cool.
I like the idea of like bringing in, okay, we're gonna bring in these like ninja cyborgs to fight RoboCop, like, and then
Yeah,
they have to hack them to take them out. Yeah, it's not, yeah. They're, I think, the best part of RoboCop 3.
maybe.
You know,
I mean,
even the jetpack is like,
yeah,
like it should be cool, but it's like, I don't know, it's too little, too late.
yeah,
It's what was weird is I remember like that, like RoboCop 3, Demolition Man, and like Star Trek First Contact, like all being around the same time, kind of.
okay,
And like they all deal with like not so much Star Trek, but like there's like these underground societies,
mm-hmm.
you know, like Dennis
Yeah,
Leary is the leader of it in Demolition Man,
right,
and like CCH Pounder, I think, is
right,
the, like, and I just reminded me of like it wasn't, there were a bunch of movies like that where they were like these underground,
yeah,
you know, like
like rebels.
rebel societies that were trying
Yeah,
to like,
which that reminds me. Did you notice that at the beginning of the movie, what's the chick's name? His partner?
CCH Pounder.
No, his partner,
Oh, Lewis.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Lewis and some cops are protecting a dude. That's Frankenhooker.
Henenlotter.
No, the
Oh,
dude.
actual guy that
Yeah,
plays. Yeah.
yeah. Again, like he popped up and he gets taken out right
I did
away,
never notice that before.
but he does get to deliver a few snappy lines, and like he does in Street Trash. It was pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah.
And then also, it's directed by fucking Fred Decker,
Yeah. Written by Fred Decker,
written
too.
by Frank Miller is also in that.
It's Frank Miller and Fred
Fred
Decker.
Decker.
But in
Miller
both
also,
cases, because Frank Miller wrote the second one exclusively,
right?
and then he wrote the third one with Fred Decker. But
Yeah, it's crazy.
but he's gone on the record a bunch of times being like, yeah, the movie they made was not the movie I wrote. Like they changed a ton of
Decker.
shit. No, Decker
Uh,
did talk a lot about the third one, but
oh,
Frank Miller is particular. I mean, Frank Miller. There's a whole comic book series
right,
of Frank Miller's RoboCop of like, this is what it was. This RoboCop 2 was supposed to be.
right. It's
You
pretty
know,
brutal.
I never read it, but
Yeah, I think the art might be either Jeff Darrow or somebody like that does a lot of like crazy detail and stuff. But I forgot Fred Decker did that, man. Monster Squad, Night of the Creeps,
yeah.
some amazing movies. And here he is with RoboCop 3. I was like, what? last couple, Oblivion, Tom Cruise. I rewatched that. Awesome movie. You seen that?
Never saw it. No.
Ooh, man, check that movie out, dude.
Is
It's
that the one
great.
with Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
great movie. M83 does the music. It's just like
He
really good.
he's pretty reliable with his movies, even though like there's not a lot that
Yeah,
like stink.
no,
You know,
he's great.
usually some
Tom Cruise.
TC's putting out quality shit.
Yeah, TC is the man. And this is one of those movies. This one and like Live Die Repeat kind of
That one's
flew.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, if you
Yeah.
like that, this one's a little more subtle, but it's great sci-fi. It's really good. The last two that I'll mention, I'm always going. My go-to is Fright Night, and I put that on the other night, and then I immediately went to Fright Night 2,
Yeah.
which I had seen before as well. But I didn't realize. I guess I don't know why I didn't realize this, that the vampire chick, the main chick in Fright Night 2, is Chris Sarandon's sister, Jerry Dandridge's sister, and she's come for revenge. I didn't realize that was the story.
Really? You've seen Fright Night 2 a bunch, too.
Yeah. Yeah. I just didn't, I guess I just dismissed it. I had even forgotten that Roddy McDowall was in it again. And he's amazing. Like, it's a great movie. It's a great sequel.
I've never seen the second one. A friend of mine has been
really
hounding me for a long time. I never saw the second one. No,
dude, watch that. All right.
I'll watch
I'll watch Dick Tracy. You watch Friday Night.
I'll watch Fright Night 2. Sure.
Yeah. And it's got, John Grease as,
maybe I have seen Fright Night 2.
It's got John Grease's best line he's ever delivered.
Maybe I have seen it. I'm trying to remember.
It's like Charlie Brewster's in college now, and he's dating a completely different chick.
Yeah, I was gonna say Marcy's not in it, right?
And he sees these people, again moving into Peter Vincent's apartment, and they haven't spoken since Fright Night 1 because he's been in therapy. Charlie Brewster has, because of Fright Night 1, and so it turns out that it's Jerry Dandridge's sister coming for revenge. You should check it out, man. It's really good.
All right, maybe I did too, but yeah, I'll watch it.
Very good. That's it. All right. So what'd you watch?
I watched Slither,
yeah.
which I was gonna pick for S, and then it didn't meet the qualifications. Have you seen Slither?
Yeah.
So Slither's really, really good.
You liked it? Okay.
Yeah.
James
Gunn.
One
that's always been, and I thought I'd seen it, and I don't know, maybe I had when it was new, but
yeah.
Because a lot of it felt real familiar, but I mean, it's almost 20 years old, so
yeah. It's like Society on crack.
Yeah, it's not as it's got Society.
It's not as incestuous as Society.
Yeah, it's not as like
totally different story. Yeah,
it's more but it's great, man. I mean, it's got everything you want out of a movie. It's
out of a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's solid. And you know what? Everybody's really fleshed out. What that I like Michael Rooker, his character is like, it starts off, you think he's going to be like this, like jerky redneck, and he is like possessed by an alien most of the movie, but he's also like well-rounded, like he really likes his wife, he's really loves his wife, you know what I mean, like stuff like that. Like it was good. It was really, really good.
It is. I think it's one of those that, like, I've seen it a couple times. I don't revisit it because of how gross it is, and like I'm usually, I forget that sometimes, but like, just literally, like, there's things in there that I'm just like, oh man, really?
Well, you know what?
That's James Gunn.
I mean, the CGI in it is, sparingly used, and when it is used, I'm not even sure. Like, it's like Jurassic Park, where you're like, is that CGI or is that? I mean, they really like.
There's a lot of practical stuff in there. Like,
there's a ton of practical.
The chick who blows up, she gets pregnant and blows up. Like, that's pretty much 100% practical.
Yeah. The only thing I think is CGI is a lot of the time is like the tentacles that come out of their stomach.
Yeah.
But even that was like, it moves. It doesn't move like a CGI thing. You know what I mean? Like, it moves. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a combination of CGI and practical. Like, it might be like a guy in a green screen suit moving around the puppet, and then they just take the guy out.
Yeah.
Like that, I could see that, because a lot of the stuff looks real, and it's a real, how, I don't know how they did it.
I have this image in my head of Rooker almost at full transformation, like zooming through a field,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they're
And
trying to trap him.
just how creepy that looks and how fast he's going. Because at that
Yeah.
point he's like pretty much gone.
Yeah.
But it is cool, like as gone as he is, mutated, he still has, even at that point, I think all the way to the end, that love for his wife that you were talking about, that characterization.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Well,
cool.
because yeah, these aliens like take over like the brain, but like there is still like a little bit left over,
Yeah.
and it's just like that still is what's in there. It's really really good.
I forget, does it end like ambiguous, or is it like a finite, like, because I know there's the big battle at the house and the
You mean
pool,
like is there a little like
or is it?
the end? Like
Yeah.
yeah, I think it is like a little bit like if I remember, God, how does it end? I watched it a week ago.
Okay.
I mean, it is a happy ending, but I'm pretty sure
Okay.
the like there is like a final shot, like a
Okay.
what about that?
What are the aliens? I forget what they truly look like. Are they just a little like thing that
Well, you never
infects you?
really see them. I mean, you kind of do. There's like because they like this egg lands on in this field,
Okay.
and then Michael Rooker's looking at it, and then it like this like thing goes into his stomach, and then he spends the rest of the movie making like it's cool. Like some people get possessed and they like become zombies, kind of. Other people like are used as like it's kind of like killer clowns, and that some people are used for one thing and other people are used for another.
Okay.
Like the woman that blows up is just like he's just using her to like fill her up with these like baby slugs, that
Yeah.
are gonna
Yeah.
possess people,
Ugh, so
but
gross.
it's all one creature. It's like a hive mind,
Okay. Yeah.
you know.
It's kind of like Night of the Creeps a little bit.
Kind of. It's a lot
Yeah.
like Night of the Creeps.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's a lot like Night of the Creeps.
Yeah. I remember thinking that. I saw the like a behind the scenes. I think some Gunn must have posted like a picture or a video of there's a video of that chick in the suit that blows, she blows up, and it's like, her face is there,
Mm-hmm.
and then the thing is huge. It's a real thing. It's like a real bubble that she's in. And she
Yeah.
had to like stay in that for like hours or something. And he was just like, this is my greatest employee right here. Like her for staying in this thing. But what is your take on Nathan Fillion?
I like him.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with him. He's kind of like a Bruce Campbell, where like
Yeah.
I
Totally.
like him not as much as Bruce Campbell, but like when he pops up in something, I'm like, oh, hey, there he is. He's one of those guys.
I feel like that's a good example because Bruce Campbell also, I feel like Nathan Fillion, his career was squandered. Like
I never got that. Like why he's not bigger.
yeah, and he was always like cast or like supposed to do a thing, and it never happened, or he got like a cameo in something, and now
Yeah, I mean,
now he's a
a
little
lot of this
older.
shit. Yeah, like he's in Guardians 3,
Yeah,
but it's basically a cameo. It's not
yeah.
it's a lot like
He's in Guardians too, and he's a creature. He's in full makeup.
oh really
Yeah, so it's
yeah. I
like
don't. I mean
we always.
he got paid like Lindsay watches Castle. She's probably watching Castle right now. She watches Castle all the time.
I think that's the thing. I think he spent too much time on Castle, literally.
I
Like,
mean, Castle is probably, I bet it's at least 5 seasons, probably
yeah,
25 episodes a season. Like I'm
yeah,
sure, and it's heavily syndicated.
yeah.
I mean, he's just just a working actor, and
I love him in Firefly and all that stuff.
I've tried that show and I've never really gotten
Did you
that
ever
into it.
watch the movie Serenity?
No, but I heard that to watch that last to watch
I
that after the show,
I forget
obviously.
how it goes, but yeah,
Yeah, it's afterwards for
it's good.
sure.
He's great as that character, whatever his character's name. But I don't know, man. I just thought after I saw that, I was like, oh, this guy's gonna be the guy. Kind of like Bruce Campbell, like you said. Like Bruce Campbell, outside of like his career kind of ended with like Army of Darkness, and then he did bit parts and cameos throughout, and that was it. It's like, why wasn't he the dude? You know, he was
Yeah, I don't
charming
know.
and dashing and
He's
funny.
al- he's almost like too, how do you put it? Like he's not like he's very good looking and he's very charismatic, but he's not he doesn't have an everyman look to him. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's why. You know,
Okay. And then
like, even guys like like Chris Evans or Chris Pratt, like they have, even though they're like huge and jacked, they have like they have this like regular guy vibe to them. You know,
I guess, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Oh, and what was that no arms fall off boy that Fillion was in that Suicide Squad?
Oh yeah, he was
It's
in.
stuff like that. I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, do
Did you
something where you're the lead.
did you see the thing going on with James Gunn right now about like, I don't know, I wouldn't call it being canceled, but it's like a lot of his old tweets or a lot of his old, I think it's an old interview that resurfaced.
Really?
And people were like, what is this? Because he's basically just like, I don't know, it's either tweets or an interview, but he's talking shit on the Michael Keaton Batman movie and like
Like
all those
89?
movies.
89
Yeah.
Batman?
About
Really?
how, yeah, about Nicholson's terrible Joker. All those movies are
Jesus,
terrible.
come on.
Saying the best of all of them is uh Batman and Robin, and it's not even close. And like shit,
Dude,
like you should read the remarks. They're pretty like,
yeah.
Jesus, dude.
That makes total sense why he said The Flash is the greatest superhero movie he's ever seen.
I mean, I think that's got to be that he's. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I listen. I like James Gunn, but I think he's really overrated. I think all the
Yeah, I agree.
I think everything he's done is like, people flip out over Super, and I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree.
like it's.
I agree. All right, man. Anything else on what you watch stuff here?
No, not really. No.
Do this Videodrome.
Yeah. Let's do Videodrome. Yeah.
All right, guys. Videodrome, 1983 for the letter V. David Cronenberg, written and directed. Which I had forgotten. David Cronenberg did History of Violence, our
Yeah.
like our whatever you call it, our benchmark movie. The last VHS. James Woods, Debbie Harry. I forgot. I didn't realize Debbie Harry was in this. Les Carlson, Jane Eastwood, Rick Baker did the effects.
Yep.
Budget of 6 million, box office of 2 million, so it lost a shitload of money.
That makes sense.
Cronenberg, you a fan?
I am. I mean, you never know what you're gonna get with him. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like,
yeah.
you could get. Did he do the Naked Russian movie?
Naked Russian, Eastern Promises.
Yeah.
No, yes, I didn't notice it in there when I saw History of Violence, but that is kind of a Cronenberg vibe. But I don't know. But it
Anyway,
doesn't.
but yeah, I mean, you
Yeah,
never know what he's. History of Violence and like The Fly and this, they're all just different. The pace different. You know, like you
yeah.
really don't know what you're gonna get. You know.
I really. Have you ever seen Rabid?
No.
Really good movie. It's like a take on a zombie apocalypse kind of thing. It's a little one of his older ones. He's a weirdo. It's like, but he's like also like very. His movies are very like meticulous and like really planned out and thought out. And whether you like them or not, they're kind of, I don't know. They're just seems like they're like regimented or something.
They're really compelling. Like they're really
Yeah,
like, although like they're not boring, but they are like, what the fuck is going on? You know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
I think about like the big difference. Like The Fly is one where like that was a big hit, and
yeah,
I can imagine people back in '86 whatever year that came out, like
yeah. So
families going and renting that movie, and then the parents renting it, like, oh, this is The Fly. This is a popular movie. This is in theaters, and throwing it in, and they don't know what they're gonna get, and they get The Fly. But The Fly is like, you watch that, and you're like, that was a good, very narratively kind of sound. And this, I could see that happening with this, and then being like, what the hell is this? Like,
Man, I gotta tell you, like I was really looking forward to this movie
yeah,
because for a lot of reasons, Cronenberg, James Woods, I hadn't seen
that's
it.
right. You hadn't seen it.
I hadn't seen it. It's like 83. Everything about it, just like I was like, this is it. We're gonna do this. Is awesome. And I'm struggling with this movie big time. I don't want to say
Yeah.
I hate it.
When you picked it, I was like, I don't know if you remember my reaction. I was like,
Yeah, I remember
okay,
your reaction.
if that's
But
the movie you
it
want.
fits the pick perfectly. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm struggling, and I keep
it's
thinking
a little
like,
more artsy than we usually do. It's a lot like Altered States when we did Altered
I was just
States.
gonna say that. Yeah, which Altered States was great. I really enjoyed that, but yeah, there was a level of, and I love movies that make you think, absolutely. But that wasn't the thing that bothered me about this movie, or that nothing bothered me. It was more like I didn't latch on to a lot of stuff, I guess, that I thought I would. I felt like, and I intentionally, after I watched it, I went and read a lot of stuff on it just to like be like, am I like, I get it. I get that it's like, I get it that it's like technology is getting out of hand, you know? I get it.
Yeah.
TV is the devil, whatever. But is there something else that I should be appreciating? And I couldn't find anything. But man, if Cronenberg had a problem with screens and our obsession with them, whether it was TV, if he had a problem with that in 83, I'm surprised the guy hasn't thrown himself off a building today, you know? Like Jesus Christ. Like,
What's wild is like, as if you, I feel, you ever seen like an interview with him, or like,
no.
It's why you would think he'd be like a David Lynch type, or even like a,
yeah, this was very David Lynch.
but you'd think he would be like really even though David Lynch isn't really that self-serious, but like you would think but he's not like that at all. He's super laid back. Like I think what's he in? He's got a cameo in something we watched. Like I think it might be Reanimator or something weird.
Okay,
but
yeah, he pops up in his movies sometimes.
Oh wait, what is he? No, he got killed in something we watched. But either way, he seems like a regular guy, when like a John Carpenter type, when you know.
Yeah,
it's like,
okay. I imagine him in real life being like, I am David Cronenberg, you know, like this kind of like a vampire almost, but I don't know, I guess he's not.
I mean, but yeah, I don't know, I found it really compelling this time, even though like I knew where it was going.
Yeah,
you know, but yeah, it's not frustrating is the wrong word, but like a lot of the movie, you don't know what's real and what isn't.
Yeah,
until
I don't like movies that are like that. If it's like a hallucination or in a dream, I don't like that kind of stuff, because then anything can happen, anything goes. So what are we dealing with here? You know that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio about the
Shutter Island?
Island. That's like the perfect example of no thank you for me, because it's like, what are we talking about then? What's real?
Well, like
at least with this, there's a mark where like he puts the headset on, you know?
Yeah.
And you could say that everything after that is a hallucination.
Well, what, that he has the headset on the whole movie after that? Because like that's the other thing. Like he gets visited by these guys that are like, okay, you're gonna whatever, go be an assassin for us. And then the thing is, okay, like earlier in the movie, he's hallucinating and he slaps shit out of the secretary.
Yeah.
And then she's like, you didn't slap me. What are you talking about? It's like, okay, so, but then he's dealing with this, like the organization that's basically showing him Videodrome and is controlling him. You know, he's got the big rubber hand, you know, with the gun on it.
Yeah.
And he's killing people with it, but like they can see it. You know what I mean? Like, but they haven't seen the tape. It was just a lot of like,
but I think they just see a hand holding a gun.
Maybe. I mean, yeah.
Because it keeps splashing back and forth between that. And I feel like that's the kind of thing that's all in his head. It makes me ask, like, what is the point of this movie, as far as not the message, but the point? Like is it about a company that made this Videodrome tape in order to recruit people to kill as assassins? Like, is that what we're dealing with?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of saw it as, yeah, I guess kind of, but also I don't know.
Like why? Like why?
I mean, I think it's kind of like they're also fascinated with this thing, but like, you know,
which is what
this Videodrome, but they know that, like, hey, if you watch this, it's basically they're using him. Like they know in advance that if you watch the tape, it gives you a brain tumor and makes you go crazy. So they're using it on other people. Is what I got, right? Or
I guess, yeah. I'm just trying to figure out their end game. Like, why are they doing this? Like, what do they?
I think they want to know more. I think like his partner and then the other guy. I think that's the goal. I could be wrong. I could be a total idiot, but like, I think that's the goal, is like to get like learn about this thing without actually, you know like
what the possibility. Like, is it? I feel like I'm just trying to like understand it at its fundamental, like break it down.
Yeah.
And I keep coming back to Halloween 3, where it's a company run by basically the devil who is trying to take over the world.
Yeah.
So is that kind of what this is?
I don't know. I don't
You know,
know.
like we're
I
like
don't
this.
think. I don't think they kind of can. Then the whole thing about like the ritual suicide at the end. Like
Yeah.
it's like what is like
I
I
feel
thought it
like
was gonna
maybe,
end with he watches it on TV and then doesn't do it or like
yeah.
you know because I didn't remember the last shot of the movie. And I was like, oh, he just does it again. Like
Yeah.
he just you
Redoes it.
know yeah exactly like it.
Because I feel like there's a simpler story here to tell. You know, messaging aside, which I enjoy the message. I like that. I like technology is out of hand right now in 1983. Okay,
Yeah.
no, but at the time it might have seemed that way. I get
I
that,
think
and
it
that's
was
cool.
heading in that direction. Sure.
Yeah,
You know.
I think MTV was 2 years old maybe, and so our obsession with TV was there, and like
Hmm.
you know
And the idea
having
of like what can we put on the because that's how he's basically running it's a weird thing. It's like a thing you have to get. He's running a channel where they just show like porn and torture all the day, and
yeah
they're like, oh, is this ethical? He's like, yeah, I mean, sure it is. Like, and it's just
how he
like
justifies it
anybody can
with
have a channel and put whatever they want on it. Like, there
right
is no FCC. There's no,
right yeah I guess I mean it's a different universe, but and the idea of having like homeless shelter where they can come in and get their daily dose of TV because that's something that society
values. Yeah.
values now. I get all that, but I feel like the like through line story that all these messages were attached to was a little sloppy. And I feel like there was a way he could have tightened it up to say like to make it clear that like all right, there's a company out here
Mhm.
that wants power. And the way that they're doing that is they're creating these subliminal messages that people are and sending them out on videotapes and stuff that people are
Right.
watching in order to and the people that are watching them are becoming their minions basically. And towards the towards as James Wood's story goes on, he's struggling with it because he's kind of a good person, you know. And
Yeah.
so he gets to a point at the end where he kind of breaks the the brainwashing and kills the main guy of the company and
Hmm.
his minion. And then at the end, when he's still under the influence and he sees the TV on the boat that says, okay, the way to finally like be all in is to kill yourself. And he does. So he's kind of, it shows that he's struggling with it all the way up until the end. Am I right in that assessment,
I guess so. I mean,
that
I think so. I'm
breakdown?
I'm not really the guy to ask. I mean, I think so.
I
You know
mean,
what
but
it felt like?
you saw as much as I did.
Yeah, I mean,
I was
but I
just
was
like,
like, it felt. You know what it felt like? I think why you might be frustrated. It's like a rabbit hole movie.
yeah,
Where like you ever seen Under the Silver Lake?
I don't think so.
It's
No.
with Scarfield, James Garfield,
James Garfield.
Not Andrew
Andrew
Garfield, Andrew
Garfield?
Garfield. Yeah,
No, I haven't seen it.
he is a guy. It's basically this guy that keeps discovering these secrets about LA, and like it's a rabbit hole movie where like, oh, like the tunnels open up and they lead to these other tunnels, and then he goes on and like, oh, there's this cult down here, but they were worshiping this guy. It's a whole thing, and like it keeps on going the whole movie.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, you're like, what is this? And it kind of has anything. Some people hate this movie. I really liked it. But people fucking hate it. But my thing is this movie is like a big rabbit hole movie where it keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and then at the end it's just kind of like there's nothing at the end of the rabbit hole, you know what I mean? Or at
Yeah.
least there is whatever it is there, it's they don't say it, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? They don't, it's not as obvious for I don't
Yeah.
know, dumb guys like us, I guess, like or it needs to be spelled out,
Well, I
I
don't think
guess.
it's so much that like I think there's a lot with this movie, especially with it being a Cronenberg movie. And I'd like to look back and see what movies he did right before this. I know Rabbit is one of them, but I think that
He did
over,
Crash, right?
yeah, he did Crash. So I think there's a lot that comes with a lot of baggage that comes with Cronenberg now that is sort of a little precious and uppity and sort of what's the word I'm looking for?
Art,
Hipstery,
yeah, artsy.
like especially
Yeah,
now where everybody wants to be a gatekeeper about, oh, of course I understand this movie and of course it
yeah,
resonates with me because they want to be in that
yeah.
club.
You don't want to be the dumb guy,
So I think it's
you
not
know.
about, I don't think it's about being dumb as much
No,
as
but
like
like
the
the
other
first
people
time,
claiming to
yeah,
understand it more than someone else when
yeah.
it's just as
When I
confusing if you
when I
ask them to break it down,
yeah, when I started to get into like hoity-toity artsy movies, like I like in college, at first, like your first reaction when you're not really getting something, like I remember the first time I watched
Yeah.
like The Seventh Seal or like, shit like that. I was like, hey, I don't get that. Like I was like, that like, my artsy fartsy friend was showing me and I felt comfortable enough to be like, I think this is over my head. And a lot of times he'd be like, well, what do you think is happening? And I would explain it and he'd be like, you got it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got it. Like that's what is happening. It's just
Yeah.
they're not, you know,
But I
uh,
think that's the thing is that I don't think there's anything really out there that you or me or someone or the next guy could watch and be like, I don't get it. You may not, it may not resonate with you, but you're seeing the same things that I am and
mhm.
you're seeing the same story, whatever. And it's more that over the years, these dickheads have attached this bullshit to it. Cause I don't think when Cronenberg made this that he was doing it he was just trying to, he was just making a sci-fi movie
Yeah,
and plugging in his message of I think there's a problem with society here. And that
sure. Yeah.
and we're grasping that. I just think that like if he were to make this today or if somebody remade this, I think it would be more clear what the
I think it would be more
characters
like an A24 movie. Like it
going
would be
through.
like a fucking painting with that moves. Like that's
It
you
would be
know,
weird, but it would also be more like it would be less heady, I think.
I
Um,
don't know. I mean, I don't know if he made it today. I don't know, but like, yeah, I
or
could definitely. This reminded me more of what was it? Fucking movie about the cult that I don't like. What's
Midsummer.
the A24 Midsummer?
Yeah,
Yeah, like you know what I mean. Like
yeah,
I feel like this is closer to. It's more entertaining than that, but
yeah,
it had that vibe.
yeah.
Where it's like you don't get it.
No,
Like
it's that's the thing. There's no, and I take back what I just said about it would be less heady. This movie isn't very too heady. It's not too heady.
no, it's
It's
straightforward.
it's it's straightforward. It's that the vehicle that his message is in, I think, is sloppy, and that kind of muddles the message when you're like, am I missing something? And it's no, you're like, no, it's just that the train is on the track and the track has these missing pieces, I think. But the
Yeah,
train is the message. And the track is just kind of like needs a little help, you know,
yeah.
to,
And when
to
you keep introducing
deliver
characters
the
and then
message.
like they die and then like they're back a few scenes later, like oh no,
Yeah.
that didn't happen. You're
Yeah.
like, well, I understand that like that half the movie is hallucinations, but like I gotta know what I'm watching is either
Right.
like has some I don't know,
I mean,
like
he starts hallucinating pretty early on, and it's right after he sees the bootleg or the satellite
yeah,
footage
yeah,
that the guy eventually says it was a tape and I didn't watch it, you know.
yeah.
So that's why I wasn't affected. So
Um,
that clarifies and makes sense that like from almost the beginning, at least from when he started watching Videodrome, that a lot of it was hallucinations, and wasn't
yeah.
really happening. So yeah.
Um, you know what though we can really talk about that we both kind of get is the makeup and the effects, man.
What do you think
Like
of it?
I thought they were awesome. They were really like, how did they do that? Like there was a bunch of shit where I was
Yeah.
watching and I'm like, I'm watching it with the eye of like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
where's the cut?
Yeah.
Where's the line?
Yeah.
And a lot of them I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Like when he's got the when he's wearing the gun holster and he's got the
Oh,
hole in
no
his
shirt.
chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like digging into his chest. I'm like, okay, I know that's where the fake chest starts, is under the holster. That's
Yeah.
why he's wearing it.
Right.
But you can't tell at all, man. Like there's
Yeah.
muscles moving
Yeah.
like in his neck and in his chest, and it seemingly like, well,
Yeah.
where's his head covered? Like there is so much stuff in this. I'm like, and this movie's almost 40 years old,
Yeah. It is
and
40 years old.
I have no idea how they did half the shit, almost all of it. I was like, I got that, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Rick Baker, man, kudos. Like
Yeah, he
they
nailed this, man.
yeah. I was doing the same thing where I was watching it like looking for that once I realized I actually thought there was going to be more sort of gratuitous body horror, but it was very subtle in a lot of ways, even though it was, like really good what they did. But there was a scene where it might have been the gun holster scene where he's standing. I think he ends up sitting down during the gun holster scene, but it starts where he's standing, and he's got one arm that's regular,
Uh-huh.
and then his other arm is like bent with his hand on his hip, I think. And you can tell there's a discoloration between the arms.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can
I
tell it's
know
a little
exactly.
paler. You can tell
Yeah,
it's
and it's
fake, and that
you could tell it's
there's
a fake arm.
yeah,
Yeah, you turn where he's holding the gun and
yeah,
like
yeah.
the spikes start to come out of his
Well, and
palm
then
and
it
stuff.
goes to that. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that was that. You know, that looked fake, but
Yeah. It I mean, yeah, if you could tell that that was obviously a prosthetic, but it still looked cool.
yeah,
Um, the one that got me the most was the TV.
oh, the like balloon, like.
Yeah, is that what's going on?
So here's no, yeah, I don't know. I would love to look it up because I thought the same
Yeah,
thing. Because I literally said out loud, like, how the fuck are they doing that?
yeah,
At first, I'm like, well, it must be rear projection. Like, it must
exactly.
be
That's what I was looking
that they
for.
have a projector and it's like a balloon that they're inflating, but there's no. But then they have a gun in there. Like they have the
Right.
scene where the gun, and I'm like,
Yeah,
well, that's got to be front projection then, because you wouldn't be able to block the light.
exactly.
But I don't know. I don't know. I think they might. I think there's a lot of stuff that they might have, like with the gun scene or the scene where he's digging into his chest. I think they did a lot of stuff without any makeup, where
Yeah,
he was like shots like this, and then
yeah,
they would do a lot of shots of just the chest. I think there was a lot of in the edit.
yeah,
So maybe they did it both ways on the TV. Like maybe they did it front projection and rear projection.
yeah.
I have
Like
no
the
idea.
scene where like it's her lips on the TV
Yeah,
and
and
he puts his
yeah,
face into it, that had to have been rear projection. And because he's right in
because he's in front
front
of it.
and he's
Yeah,
blocking it, right? But it's still like, even with that, and okay, we can understand that gag, but his head gets distorted in shape. And it's just like, what the fuck, man? How are you doing that? It's
yeah.
so awesome.
It really was. It was something else, man.
Yeah.
Rick Baker's the man.
Yeah.
It must be such a cool job. Just you know, they go
Yeah.
to him to say, "I want this," and him be like, "I'll figure it out."
Yeah. I'll figure
You
it out.
know,
Do you
like
follow Rick Baker on Instagram?
I don't. I should.
Dude,
Maybe I do.
he does these little videos like all the time. Like he'll do a couple a week where it's just his hand and he's holding a creature that's obviously
Okay.
like fake. But man, it's like you can't tell. And a lot of times he'll do stop motion and stuff. And it just looks awesome. He loves just doing that, like holding this creature that's like flailing around. It's like looks like an alien of some kind. Great
That's
Instagram
awesome.
feed. Yeah.
He's the man, dude.
Pumpkinhead, dude. We gotta watch Pumpkinhead at some point
Yeah,
for P maybe
I've never seen it.
next season. Yeah, it's got a lot of good stuff in it. It's just kind of like it's early Cronenberg. I feel like by the time The Fly rolled around 3 years later, he had really gotten his his eye matched his messaging, where like you get the message, and also his directing was like, his eye for like, he's always gotten like good performances out of people, but his
Mhm.
eye for like what to shoot and how to shoot it and how to tell the story visually, I think
Sure.
was really refined by the time The Fly rolled around.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I wish that dude, he's not dead.
Cronenberg? No,
Cronenberg.
Cronenberg's still alive.
I wish he would do more stuff. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but now when he does stuff, I mean, it's only every few years, and it's weird. It's weird as ever now, from what
Yeah.
I understand. I haven't seen the last few, but from the
Wasn't one of them with Pattinson and it was like
yeah,
Cosmopolis or something like that?
yeah. I haven't seen it, but I've heard mixed things. I've heard it was great. I've heard it was terrible.
I'm gonna check that out.
His son is putting out good shit, from what I understand.
Oh, he's a director?
Yeah, his son's a director, and he's apparently putting out very quality stuff. I forget what.
Is his name
the guy.
Cronenberg?
Yeah,
Yeah. Interesting.
I forget his name, but he did a horror movie I think last year that people were like, "This is legit. This is really good."
I kept waiting for him to say "shut the fuck up" to somebody. Didn't. That was a letdown. I don't know, man.
No, the only time he really lost his shit was when he when he slapped the secretary,
Yeah,
and then he was yelling at his,
this dude. Yeah,
yeah,
uh,
he was losing it for a while, but he never got
he
full
was
James
very he
Woods.
was very subdued. His
Yeah,
For what he was going through. I thought his and this is early James Woods. I told you I saw one of his first things on Welcome Back, Kotter the other day, which granted that was like 1975, so this is 1983. I don't know. By this point, he was relatively established, but still really young. But I feel like he didn't really like lose his shit until like later.
he. I don't know. You ever seen The Hard Way? I know we've
Yeah,
probably talked about it. Yeah, like
Michael J.
he's
Fox.
great. That's prime. It's funny because like that's all the stuff you want out of James Woods, like same as vampires. But like in Casino, he's nothing like he's not like that, but it's still prime James Woods.
Well, dude, Cat's Eye was I'm pretty sure it was 85,
Yeah,
84,
I mean,
85. So
yeah,
like
not,
like just a year or two after this, and he was like full on in that,
yeah,
so maybe it's just
yeah. Maybe it's
the
just
way
the
he was
director.
directed.
You
Yeah.
know,
Oh, the music was really cool. I like the music on
music
this.
was good. Music was
It
very
was
good.
very fitting, and it was like it's kind of like vapory, like 80s stuff. It was good.
Yeah,
The I thought it was weird as far as the effects go, and like how they were used in story. It was weird how he's like like the choice, of like he's sitting there on the couch watching something, and he's kind of like he unbuttons his shirt and he's kind of scratching, he's itching his stomach or whatever, and then all of a sudden it opens up, which I'm like what the fuck, like, and then he decides to put a videotape into it and loses the
yeah.
tape, and I'm like, if I'm sitting there on the couch and all of a sudden like my stomach opens up, I'm not going to think to like start putting stuff into it.
I
So
mean, I've hallucinated before, and it's not the craziest thing in the world.
I
That you
guess,
would be like, this makes sense to do. I have to do this right
yeah.
now.
I mean, it was just like it
You
was
know,
just weird, and the fact that like that was how kind of the messages were delivered for their assassins. It was like because remember he sees the other guy at one point, the uh
yeah.
the tech guy, and he's like, I got another assignment for you, and he goes to put the tape in his stomach. I'm like, wait, so this is how we're doing it? Like he's a living VCR of some kind. It was just like, and every time they had a tape, they held their hand out to the
Yeah,
side to
and
show that it was like pulsating. It was just crazy. I was just like, what?
yeah, it was
uh
awesome.
yeah. No, there was definitely some awesome stuff to this. It was just it was muddled by different things, but
I know what you mean.
yeah. What else you got? Anything else on this?
No,
Oh,
not really.
I thought it was interesting, Dr. Oblivion, how he just communicated in monologues with videotape. That could be like, that's like a Robert Kirkman character, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And then turns out he's been dead for,
Yeah, a year or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, not a bad movie, just wasn't one of my favorites. I don't know. All right, man. TUV, what, W? You got W next week?
I got W.
What are you thinking about?
I got a couple I'm thinking about.
All right. So you got
All
a
right.
list. I got some suggestions if you.
Good, because I got three, and I'm not too confident about any of them.
All right, what do you got? Let's see what you got. Put them all
Okay, so
together.
I got Wishmaster from
Yeah.
97.
Yeah.
I got Warlock
Yeah.
from 89. And this is kind of a curveball, George Miller movie from 87. The Witches of Eastwick.
Oh, nice. George Miller did that? I didn't realize George Miller did that.
Yeah, and I've never seen it. It's
Really?
always
Wait,
been
you're talking about Jack Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson. Yeah.
All right. Those are all great, and I'd be fine with any of those. If you want to add in Willard from 2003.
I was thinking about that one too.
Have you
Oh,
seen
from
that?
2003. It's a
Yeah.
remake.
Oh, yeah. So this is the one with
Yeah,
McFly,
with Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover. It's supposed to be good. I've never seen it. Wolf, Jack Nicholson,
Thought about
1994.
Wolf too. That was
Uh,
one of the first movies I saw in theaters when I was like, "Oh, this might suck."
yeah,
Like
I haven't
it was
seen it
before I
since
knew movies could suck, and then
because we
being
had
like,
expectations, man,
yeah,
when that came out, but it
I
might
was
be good.
pumped.
I don't know. And then War of the Worlds remake, Tom Cruise, 2005.
Oh wow, that barely makes the cut.
And then Watchers 4. So we did Watchers. Remember Corey Haim?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize that there were 4 of those, or at least 4. Maybe there's more. But no, the 3 that you got work. So pick one of those.
So I've never. Have you seen Witches of Eastwick?
If I have, it was when it came out, which is when? When was that?
87.
And that's George Miller. That's crazy. Let's do that.
Okay. I mean, it's classified as comedy, fantasy, horror.
Right.
It's Jack Nicholson, Cher, Susan Sarandon, and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Right. Yeah. If I've seen it, I haven't seen all of it, and it was a long time ago.
I remember it being really popular, but it might have just been because they played it a lot on Comedy Central. I remember that.
It's a big, like, legit movie. What was it? Wishmaster, and what was the other one?
Warlock.
Did you hear what happened? You know, Warlock is Julian Sands.
Yeah.
Did you hear what happened to him?
No.
This has just happened like 3 months ago. He went hiking somewhere in LA, like in the woods, and vanished, and they found his remains.
Oh, I remember that happening. I know that happened to him.
Yeah. Gone. Like got eaten by a bear, some shit.
Jesus.
Or cannibals. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm good with any of those, but Witches of Eastwick, if that's your pick, sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen it, it seems like a fun movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that.
You want to do it with Witches of Eastwick? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Next week for W, Witches of Eastwick, 1987. George Miller. I didn't know it was George Miller. That's cool. Good.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. Satisfied?
So yeah, Dick Tracy and
oh yeah, Dick Tracy. Oh, so also next week we're off.
Oh yeah, we are off next week.
I've got my mom coming in town, and we're going to be doing stuff. I haven't seen her in a couple of years, so look for us. We're going to skip next week. We'll be back the following with Witches of Eastwick. What'd you watch, Dick Tracy, and who knows whatever else we watch, and all new Patreon. Speaking of, if you want to support the podcast directly, check out the patreon.com/deathbypodcast. We have our bonus mini podcast, BoobTube TV. And we did an awesome episode. We've been doing Halloween sitcoms. We did the Halloween TV special for Garfield, the cartoon. It was awesome. We had a good time talking about that. So that's on patreon.com/deathbypodcast. Find us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Death by Podcast. I looked at our YouTube yesterday, and people are listening to our podcast on YouTube. I've noticed.
Oh, cool.
Our episodes almost get more listeners on YouTube than they do just regular podcast.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Everyone
we might have to like revisit the YouTube at some point and beef it up.
Well, leave a comment if you're watching it on maybe we'll do a video where we'll do animation or we
could do what Red Letter Media does like 10 times better.
All we need is 2
chairs and we're good.
By the way, so IMDb has keywords that you can search, and every movie has keywords listed. So and the 5 keywords, the 4 for Witches of Eastwick are windstorm, verbose speech, 1980s, and hand on woman's butt. If you search hand on woman's butt,
you get Witches of Eastwick.
Actually, the first movie that comes up is not Witches of Eastwick is number 2.
Yeah.
Number 1 is Mulholland Drive.
Oh wow, that's a creepy ass movie.
And number 3 is Ladybugs.
That's awesome. All right, guys.
This is great.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Check out the Patreon and check us out in a couple week and a half for the next episode. Until then, I'm your host, Adam. That's your other host,
Kevin.
It's Miller time. James, what do you got?
Shut the fuck up.
Whew. If that had been in the movie, it would have been that would have just elevated it just a little bit more.
Yeah.
All right, folks. We'll see you later. Don't put VHSs in your stomach. That would be bad. Just, if you have the opportunity to put anything in your stomach, then it keeps it. All right. We'll see you later.